So in an upcoming video, we'll try to break these out of the slabs. And when we're doing melts, we always melt pretty decent sized quantities. We don't really like to do any melts when we're processing less than 100 ounces of net gold content. Normally I wouldn't dump this out on a table like this, dump it into here, but I want to make sure you on the camera can get a good view of all this stuff. So we're just going to dump it out on the table. And I'm just going to kind of go over my thought process on how we prepare this type of gold for a gold melt. So first thing we want to do, I've got a magnet with a super strong magnet. Best way to find a good magnet is include the word super when you're searching online to buy one. And rather than take the magnet and put it directly on the items, we're going to put it in a nice heavy duty plastic bag. This way, if there does happen to be some small bits of iron or small bits of stainless steel that stick to the magnet, they're not going to be sort of impossible for us to get off of the magnet. We're going to keep that plastic barrier. But we'll just go through this stuff and you can take a look and see what kind of stuff our coin and jewelry dealers have been melted down. This one is sticking to my magnet. These will have a metal hinge in them. And if it's an easy bit of steel for us to get out of the way, we will pull it out of there. And if it's hard to get out of the way, we won't really worry about small bits of steel like this. But I was able to kind of get most of it out of here, and that'll be good enough. So we do tend to remove stones, at least the ones that are easy to take out. Like one like this is not impossible. You just put it on a piece of metal and bang it with a hammer, it'll come right out. But the melter's gonna make sure this thing disappears when we make a gold bar out of it, so I'm not gonna worry about it. This is gold with a little piece of silver on it. So we do tend to melt silver in with our gold from time to time. And this here is a dental gold rectangle. So if you're ever sending a bunch of gold to a melter, it's expected, your melter expects you to mention the fact that you're including dental gold, if you are including dental gold. The dental gold will often be alloyed with palladium, and that means it's going to be more difficult to melt in the sense that it's going to require more heat, a higher melting point for gold alloys that include palladium. So you should always be telling your smelter if you are putting dental gold in a mix. Don't just rely on your smelter to kind of figure that out on their own, to pay attention. But these ones I'm taking out. I'm not taking them out because they have any resale value. I'm just taking them out because when we do the melt, I'd rather not burn up those stones and create any smoke and just kind of make my melt less efficient. So when we're melting, we do look for items like this earring that are ones that have a big air pocket. Like for instance, this guy is hollow, so it's got a big air pocket in there. And you can melt it, but it can also pop while it's being melted. And when it pops, it'll sort of send molten gold flying in different directions. So we kind of avoid melting down stuff like that without first kind of making a hole. But this is all pretty jewelry. Gold's over 3,000 bucks an ounce. If gold was $200 an ounce, maybe we'd put in effort to try to sell it as nice jewelry. Already checked to pull out all of the diamond jewelry, but I had one with a nice size CZ in there and had to kind of double check. But it's got some stones. These ones that are really stone heavy with big stones, I'll try to get the stones separated. But on a lot of them, I'm just going to let the heat do the work during the melt. Let the melter get the stones out. But when we're done with this, we'll put this all in the melter. We'll make some gold bars and we'll weigh and assay the gold bars and value them up as well for the video. Let's see how easy this one's going to be to de-stone. So when we melt gold, the weight tends to drop. It's referred to as melt loss. And when you're melting pure 24 karat gold, there's really no melt loss. But when you're melting gold that's mixed with copper and other metals, some of those metals do tend to kind of just disappear. Your gold won't, but the copper that it's mixed with will. So as you heat it to melt it, you expect the weight to go down and the purity to go up. So while there's a melt loss, it's just referring to a weight loss. It's not a melt loss to refer to a loss in value. Of course, some gold will get spilled on the floor, but that's not lost. Your smelt shop, your refinery, believe me, they're going to sweep the floor from time to time and recover all that. So if you're sending to a refinery a big batch of, let's say, 24 karat gold, and they claim that they melted it down and that there was a melt loss of 6 grams, and they're just kind of keeping that money, not compensating you for it, then they're really stealing from you. Because if they dropped it on their floor when they were pouring a gold bar, they're going to recover that at a later time, and that's going to be money in their pocket. So this one, some sort of clip here, has a little metal spring, so it's sticking to the magnet. A lot of this stuff is just so minor, you don't really need to bother with it. It'll kind of come out while you're melting and then refining. But if you don't want these little bits of steel floating around in your melt, then you can take them off like I'm doing here manually before you put it in the melter. Yeah, these ones are the more problematic things, the hollow items. More problematic than the stones in terms of disrupting your melt, because when you're melting, if your items are popping, having little mini explosions inside the melt, sort of disrupting. And that can cause little bits of gold to fly out and cause the weight to go down. But this isn't really ideal. I just thought it would kind of get everybody the best view to do it right on this old desk that we have in the building. But there is a lot of real pretty jewelry. And word on the street is that with tariffs, everything's going to be going up in value. You're crazy to melt down pretty gold jewelry. You should resell it as is, but, you know, try it. You know, go try and sell this $300,000 worth of gold. Go try and sell it for $310,000 and see how long that's going to take you. Because to make that happen, it is likely going to take you a year to find a way to sell this at a premium, at let's say even a 3% premium to what the value is from just melting it and making the bars. We've got a 24 karat gold little statue. That's a little rooster. Same. I've seen the same roosters in much bigger sizes and in silver statues. But that's a nice little gold one. Pure 24 karat gold, likely fabricated in China. So we've been doing this for years, where we take these stones out and throw them into these plastic tubs, and we've literally got tubs full of gems. And from time to time in our business, a gem dealer would call and just randomly kind of telemarket call us and ask, "Do you have any gems for sale?" And we'd be like, "Yes, we do." And we have tubs full of loose gems that may or may not be valuable. So we would have the gemologist come, and they'd always be talking about how they pay the best for gems. They pay huge amounts of money, and we're going to get rich because we're willing to let this gemologist buy our gems. And then we show them a tub. Imagine a tub like this, but all the way full with gems. And the gemologist gets his fancy lights, and we stick him in the corner, let him take his time, and he's got all kind of goofy gem tools, and sits there for 2 hours and goes through the whole thing, and then come back at the end and be like, "Yeah, thanks for letting me look at them. Have a nice day." Be like, what do you mean? I thought you were going to make us rich, buy all those gems. And they'd literally tell us, like, no, I didn't find any good ones. Not one. So we still have tubs of gems, and all these gems are going to go into one of those tubs, and they'll just be there when I'm dead, I'm sure. So we got another gold tooth. By having all these gold teeth in the melt, it's just going to require a higher amount of energy for the entire melt to get the gold teeth to melt. But there are a bunch of these dental gold rectangles in here, and when you have dental gold in the mix, you should just expect your smelter to have to use more heat to melt the entire batch down. And that is going to mean more copper loss. So your weight your after melt weight in comparison to your pre-melt weight will drop more than if you had sent a batch that didn't include dental gold. And if there's a lot of dental gold, then there could be some palladium value to the melt. So palladium is not super valuable like it once was, but still around $1,000 an ounce. So if you have a lot of dental gold, a good question to ask when you're selling your dental gold is, how much am I getting paid on the palladium content? But just because you're getting money on your palladium doesn't mean you're getting the best deal. Sometimes it's best to just get a really good payout on your gold if the palladium is very minimal. You know, if you could get an extra 5% on the gold, it's not going to help you if you get an extra 1% on the palladium. So far, haven't really seen anything as far as this jewelry goes to brag about. Haven't seen any Cartier or Tiffany, that kind of stuff, fancy brand name stuff. But reality is, when the gold price is $3,000 an ounce, people are melting down Tiffany and other high-end brand name jewelry, especially if it's broken. This is a Tiffany and Company hallmarked item. Tiffany and Company hallmarked items are tough to sell. It's such a desirable brand that the counterfeiters make a lot of fake ones. So if you're trying to resell intact Tiffany and Company jewelry, but you don't have the original receipt and box and bags and paperwork, and you know, if there's any issues, maybe, you know, sometimes the Tiffany ones, the authentic ones, when they were hallmarked, the hallmark was a little crooked, and people will just say, oh, that one's got to be counterfeit. There's some that are authentic ones, and the people have trouble selling them as authentic because the buyers are so paranoid about buying counterfeits. So it's a lot of work to sell finished jewelry, and the customers have a right to be very picky. If they're going to wear something, they really need to love it, and got to fit them just right. Gold bar is a whole different ball game. Gold bar has just got to be the right weight and purity and good hallmarks, and it's an investment. Doesn't have to look good around your neck or on your finger. So this is a really beautiful chain. It's got pretty much all this jewelry. You can tell the diamond jewelry has been removed from this lot. There's not very many diamonds. This one does have some little diamonds in it. So when that gets melted, the little diamonds will be destroyed. If we wanted to get the diamonds out, we would. It's just everything takes time and effort. The little tiny diamonds do not have that much value. Last time we sold a bunch of small diamonds in bulk in auction. Our biggest lot that we sold got about $75 per carat. So the cost of that also, you got to factor in the auction house was charging us for that. We had to pay to ship them. We have to pick out all of the ones that aren't diamonds, or we have to pay to auction house to do that for us. Typically, if you have loose diamonds that you're throwing in a batch of melee, you're going to have to boil them in acid to make your melee batch nice and clean and good looking and ready to sell. If it's just coming out of refining gold, those ones are going to be nice. But if you add to that batch some ones that you just took out of jewelry with a tool like this, they tend to be pretty dirty, those diamonds. So you got to either clean them first, or you're going to have to clean the whole batch of stones. So we do that by boiling the stones in nitric acid. So don't try that at home. We do have a professional acid fume hood that we work under when we're working with acids. It's pretty wild. If you look online, all the places that buy scrap gold, they tend to use acid to test it, and none of them work in any acid fume hoods. I was kind of considered looking into the law just out of curiosity, see if it's even legal to test gold jewelry with acid when you're not in a proper acid fume hood. So for the secondhand colored gems to be sold, the convention in 2025 is really, if you want to sell a colored stone for any kind of decent amount of money, you need to have it certified by a gem lab. A gem lab that doesn't buy and sell, they just evaluate stones. So those gem lab certifications aren't cheap. So if you have a stone that looks like this that you could probably buy at a gem show for $3, you know, who wants to spend $200 to have it certified by a gem lab? Or even if you got a stone that, you know, you're hoping is going to be good, like, oh, rubies are valuable, I have a ruby. Well, if the gem lab finds flaws when they check the ruby, then it's not going to be worth much. So you're always risking money when you're certifying stones. Unless you're really confident that your colored stone is going to come back with a good certification, then you really don't want to send it to the gem lab and take that risk. But we have all different carats here. So a lot of people ask, like, do I have to melt my 10K with separate from my 14K and separate from my 18K? No, we melt it all together. And that's really the purpose of smelting this kind of stuff, is to get the value efficiently. So the way we do that is by melting it all together. The gold is not going to evaporate. Even if the weight of it goes down, it's mainly the copper that is being lost, and some of the other metals that might be in there, but it's not the gold. The gold's not going to evaporate. So we're going to use, when we melt this, we're going to use a stir rod to stir it up. And we're going to use an induction melter. So the nature of an induction melter is it kind of spins the molten gold. but we're still going to use a stir rod to spin it some more. We want to spin it so much that it becomes what a scientist would call homogeneous. Basically, it'll be 1 carat type. So instead of being a bunch of 10K, 14K, 18, 22, 24, and all these different carat types, it'll just average them all out. This one's got some little gold beads on it. Looks like some jade beads, along with some little gold beads, just on string. If we put string in our melter, it's just going to burn up. Won't be a problem. So, just for a little added bit of science, I guess we'll call it, I'm going to weigh all this before I put it in the melter, make some gold bars, and then we'll weigh the gold bars afterward so we can compare our before melt weight with our after melt weight. Breaking out these air pockets on these little stud earrings. So if you see anything in here that you want to buy, by the time you see this video, it will be destroyed. So you're too late. So this one's got a ring guard. A lot of these rings, people want to resize them. They don't want to bother paying a lot of money to their local jeweler. So they'll buy a little at-home ring sizer on Amazon. And it won't be real gold. It'll just be maybe gold plated or just gold colored. And this one is made out of steel. And it doesn't really want to come off, but I'm going to get it off here soon. There we go. We got gold tooth. This one's got some porcelain on it. Got some stuff over here that stuck to the magnet, so I set that aside. So Gold Refinery of San Diego does have a mail-in program where we buy gold through the mail. We will provide you with a shipping label, and the shipping label is with FedEx, but it's a special label that we buy from an insurance company, and they have special commercial insurance that covers shipments of gold. and that way anyway with FedEx we can cover up to $75,000 shipments, and then for more expensive shipments we can do multiple packages, or we can go for armored truck shipments. The armored truck shipments literally have no limit. We could do a $50 million shipment via armored truck or more. But more about our mail-in program. So when you mail us gold, we do it a little bit different than here. We don't do it on just a wood desk and kind of make a mess, but we do it under camera. So we will actually send you the shipping label, and then you will box up your gold, ship it to us. When we open that box, we unbox it under video camera, and we make the recording available to you. So you get to watch the whole process, whereby we unbox your gold, we test all the pieces of gold, and we weigh all the pieces of gold, we price all the pieces of gold all under video camera, and then we pay you by depositing the money into your bank account. So we will test with our X-ray fluorescent spectrometer and other tools, and you can see on the camera the test result directly from the machine, and you can see on the camera as well the result from the scale when we're weighing the items. So as far as I know, nobody else offers that level of transparency like we do, and our mail-in program actually pays 99% of the market price of gold. So we have created what we think is the best mail-in program on the planet for selling scrap gold. The way we kind of make money on our mail-in program, or one of the ways that we cover our expenses, is we do charge an assessment fee. So for each item that a vendor sends us, there is a $5 assessment fee. So our clients that are pawn shops and jewelry stores, and people that are in the gold business, or even people that aren't professionals but who are comfortable doing an extra step to get the best deal, you can drop your assessment, your $5 per item assessment fee, down to a single $5 fee by melting all your items into one bar and just sending us one ingot of gold. So that's one of the reasons that we're doing this video, is to show people how to melt gold. And if you're working with a small gold melter, it will help you to do what I'm doing here, kind of stripping out the stones, because a small melter is going to have a limited amount of space. Our melter that we're using, that I'm going to use for this video, is a 10 kilogram gold smelter, and even that one is going to be easy to fill up with all of the jewelry that we have here. Once it turns into molten gold, it's not going to take up very much space at all. But when it's a bunch of loose jewelry, it does take up quite a bit of space. Okay, that one is good enough. I'm not going to try to get these kind of stones out of those rings. It's just too much work. I'll let the melter do that work for me. so these are the ones that were sticking to the magnet a little bit. There's nothing I could really do to fix that one. This one, these cuff links, they tend to have some steel in them, in the mechanism. My old buddy who was a jeweler, he would see me destroying this stuff and he would just call me the destroyer. Because he was obsessed with building beautiful art jewelry. And then he would see me destroying stuff and it always pained him. Okay, this one. Yeah, it's got these little metal clips in there, but it's kind of minor in a big melt like this, so I'm just going to put that in with the rest of the melt. Get these out of the way. See about this one. So this one looks like we might have one piece of costume jewelry connected. Yep, so there's one little piece of costume jewelry there. Another little piece of costume jewelry. I got that one out. And that's going to do it. So that's going to do it for that stuff. We have some coins. So everybody always likes to watch us melt coins. This is American Eagle, a good coin. It's real gold, but that one's getting melted. We got a lot of American Eagles, and we don't typically melt the American Eagles. However, that one, when you test it on the Sigma machine, it comes up in the yellow, whereas every other American Eagle that we have comes up in the green. And just because we don't want any of our customers to have any issues when it comes time for them to sell the coin, we're just going to refine that one. So you could certainly throw plastic in when you're melting gold. You could throw this plastic right into your smelter, but you know it's gonna flame up and make chemical fumes. And if you're selling gold to a smelter, you should take all the plastic out of there. And if you don't be surprised if they charge you some fees to prep your gold for smelt. But if you remove the plastic, you shouldn't have to worry about that kind of issue. The only plastic you should have when you're smelting gold is send your gold to your smelter in one big plastic bag. That's it. You don't want a whole bunch of little plastic bags in the mix. So we got Krugerrand, got some Arabic gold coins, Canadian gold coin with the animal on it, pre-33 US gold coin, 100 Corona gold coin, more pre-33 gold, USA gold. This is a little 1/10 ounce American Eagle gold coin. So these ones always get a really good premium, even if we want to just sell them wholesale, but this one's got some condition issues, so we're gonna just melt that one. All right, so I'm gonna dump all this stuff into this bin. And then we are going to pick up from here momentarily.